on the video. This is going to be another episode of Reforge Gaming News talking about No Mans Sky Outlaws. Is it a good time to jump in? I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the future of the franchise. Hello Games talking about doing another game that they're working on. What does that mean for No Man's Sky's future as a franchise? Why is now a great time to dive in? If you're returning, I've got some warnings. That is kind of some of the bad things that I feel that they could make significantly better. So if you have been playing this game or you're coming back to it, there are elements to these updates that I think could be polished a little bit more. If you're a brand new player, it is a wonderful time to jump in. I'm going to end this morning's stream and bring people over from the redirect. We talked about Horizon Forbidden West. There's already talks of a sequel. There's already talks of DLC, and so we covered that this morning. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel with the bell button pressed. If you're not seeing my live streams, make it a point to check your subscription feed or check my channel. YouTube has been kind of fiddling with some stuff, and it's making certain people not see my vids. So if you're missing those daily live streams, we're here every day, all right? Make sure you're doing that. So let's start off with this as an actual just Reforge update. This is a Reforge update. No Mans Sky Outlaws has released alongside a brand new expedition, The Blighted. This is their 6th expedition. I want to talk about why now is a good time to jump in the game, but I also want to talk about the good, the bad, and the future of the franchise. They have confirmed they are working on another game. What does that mean for No Man's Sky? And I've even got some warnings to those of you who are potentially returning to the game. That is one of the rougher spots of these types of updates. If you like these videos here on Reforge Updates, hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you don't miss my content, or head over to Reforge Gaming where I streamed this live. So why is now a good time to jump in? Let's just walk through the good, all of the good things about the game right now that they have been working on and doing. This is basically No Man's Sky 2 at this point, okay? It's a brand new game in many respects. It's a completely fully fleshed out, more realized version than they even ever promised, and I think that is significant. I think that's something to consider, that the game did launch pretty poorly and to poor reception, but when we get to August of this year, 2022, the game will have been out for 6 years. It has completely reinvented and rebuilt itself. I would consider this to be essentially the sequel of itself. It's no longer what it initially launched as. It's a perfect game to jump into for all of the things that it offers, okay? There is so much breadth and depth and variety. There is no one way to play this game, and I think that is one of the elements about it that makes it so appealing. It's also absolutely beautiful. The updates that they've done graphically make it look phenomenal. If you have a strong PC or a next-gen console like the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, it does run and look very, very good. I mean, if you've not played it, I think you really are missing out. There's not really another game on the market at this scale and depth and accessibility. I think that's one of the big selling factors of it, is there's so much depth and scale and breadth, but you don't have to do all those things. It's a very accessible game. It's very enjoyable. It's great to jump in and play. Now, there is some bad, I think, in how this is set up. I think it can be tough for returning players to find their footing. I think there's elements of how they set this up that can cause returning players to sort of feel, this is crazy. I don't know where all my stuff is. All my stuff is messed up. The planet changed. My buildings are messed up. There are some of those rough edges. So I don't think that's a reason to stay away. That's just something that you should be aware of as a returning player. If you're wanting to jump back in, you might find some things to be a little out of whack. Not to a great enough degree to not play, just so you know, jumping back in, what to expect. The second thing I would say is they should really consider asking if you are a new player and offer a slightly altered beginning tutorial to the expeditions. I think the expeditions are a great update. They're really good for existing players, but they could also be a really nice introductory funnel to new players. My common advice to brand new players is play the main normal game for 2 hours minimum. Get the basics of repairing your ship and getting materials and using all those different things, refining them, and get all that down first before jumping in and making an expedition character, because they're expecting you to know a lot of those things sort of off the top of your head. Like as soon as you land, those are going to be the things that they expect you to know. And that's been my advice since the beginning. I think that could be rectified by just a simple question. Hey, are you new? Yes? Okay, here's the basic tutorial of the game, and they would pad that on the front end of your expedition experience. Now, let's talk about the future. With Hello Games discussing their next project, there are lots of questions. Is No Man's Sky going to get relegated to just ongoing live service game maintenance with expeditions only? Do they sort of feel as if the game is done? Is it arrived? Are they doing no more major updates? They aren't a particularly large company. I'm really curious how monetization even works with funding them. They don't charge for any of these updates. There are no cosmetics. There are no microtransactions. You simply buy the game at full price or wait for a sale, and then it's yours. Anything that they do, anything that they add, anything that they update, it's yours, okay? A smaller team has its advantages. That might be one of the reasons this monetization structure works, but it also means the next project could really shift priority away from No Man's Sky, which would make sense. It has been out for 6 years, but many people might think, hey, this game could go on for forever. Please don't abandon it. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Head over to Reforge Gaming if you want to interact with me live or here on Reforge Updates. Hit subscribe and the bell button, and I'll see you in the next video. And I'll see the rest of you right now. Curious what your experience has been with this No Man's Sky update, what you think about the expeditions, what you think about new player accessibility, and do you think maybe they're moving away? I mean, is it possible that they're going to be moving away from No Man's Sky and purely just start supporting it as a more live service only game with those expeditions? Because again, that's just that seasonal content. It works so well for it works really well for Diablo 3. You know, they just continue to pump out a new season with new cosmetics and new pretty things. And with the universe as big as it is, I don't necessarily think that it could really ever end. Is it like Subnautica but in space? Yes, it's basically like Subnautica but in space. I would say it's particularly, there's more depth, I think, than what Subnautica offers. I've not played it, so I can't make any comparisons, but I don't necessarily see Subnautica getting the scope and the amount of updates that this game has been receiving. So I would say you could compare it to Subnautica, but I'd be careful with that comparison, mainly because they're very different games, and No Man's Sky has been updating itself significantly for 6 years, and I think that has to be considered when you make those comparisons, because generally speaking, Subnautica, as far as I could tell, did little updates here and there, but then did almost like DLC format. So, yeah, guys, make sure new stream. So if you're a worker lurker, make sure you switch to that live chat so you can see what everybody is saying. Make sure and smash that like button. Get us our first 100 likes. We appreciate you guys supporting the channel and the streams right now. Some stuff going on with YouTube. So if you're like, hey, I haven't seen your streams in a while, make sure you're checking your subscription feed as well as my channel. That we are live every day, even if it's not in your recommended feed. I missed a stream this morning, but I did reinstall No Man's Sky and I started over, said Suede. I didn't get to play much, but it's definitely a brand new game. I want to keep going and see how the content loop is. I would say Subnautica has a ton of depth. Oh my gosh, that's a terrible pun. Yeah, I actually think the content loop's really enjoyable, but it really depends on what you want to do. If you just want to do the Artemis quest line, or if you just want to get to the center of the universe, or if you just want to dig down and build, or you want to work on this new Outlaws stuff, and because No Man's Sky Outlaws basically can drive you to an outlaw star system, and then there's all new missions and things to do. You can basically become like a pirate and like a smuggler. You want to become Han Solo. So it really is, what do you want to do? Because the content loop's going to be different for all of those various activities, and I think that plays a pretty big part in your enjoyment, as well as sort of your estimation of quality of the content loop. Eugene says, I think the expedition provides the best starting point for a new and returning player. My only problem with that, Eugene, is if you've never played before, I feel like it's constantly asking you to do things that you don't necessarily know how to do, right? I don't think so. Like, it's like, you might be right. It might be more polished than before, but my experience with the expeditions was this is not something that a new player would understand. It's wanting you to get out things, put them on the ground, interact with them, use them, and I think that can lead to confusion. They give so much to a new player. Freighter, upgrade, nanites, etc. As you play the expedition, it's a waste of time for a new player to do anything else, and they can just continue that character. I agree with you logistically speaking. Yes, Eugene, you are correct. From a logistical standpoint, if it's the first time you're ever playing No Man's Sky, if you start an expedition character, the result that you get, what you get from that, all of the stuff, all of the supplies, all of the experiences, I actually think you are correct. That is a really, really great place to start. I worry that, again, they need to ask you a question, and if you say, yes, I'm a new player, then they need to funnel you through just a very basic tutorial first. I don't think it needs to be that substantive, but I do think that like new player accessibility or new player acquisition could be bettered by them doing that, right? Obviously, I'm not a new player, so I'm just trying to predict and navigate what a new player might feel, what a new player might experience, and just something pretty basic. There's one step in that seems dissonant, but other than that, this expedition holds your hand pretty well. I think all of the expeditions did a very good job holding your hand and giving you the materials needed for like the next step, like propelling. I always felt like the No Man's Sky expedition propelled me forward, right? It just propelled me forward to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, and it felt really good. And then it would obviously start to slow down. It would start to slow down and get a little bit more focused. But I think one of the beauties of that is you kind of get in and get through the early experience of No Man's Sky, which I think is very satisfying. Getting your ship, preparing your ship, getting off planet and going to different places. I think a lot of that stuff feels really, really good, and they get a lot of that out of the way relatively quickly. And then it slows down, which I think is totally appropriate. I think it's totally fine to slow down and say, hey, we're gonna make this take a little bit longer. You got to do this now or that, or you got to go gather these materials, and that's gonna take a little bit longer to get over there. So for me, I actually like the pacing of the expeditions quite a bit. I'm just concerned, like a brand new player. Also, a brand new player can weave the intro and the expedition. Well, yeah, because it's treating you like, hey, you're here for the very first time. You've never been here before. You've never done this. Let's get you started. I mean, for all intents and purposes, maybe you're outlining what I should do on my PlayStation 5 is I should just start an expedition character, play that character, get all the stuff, get all the junk, get all the things, and then say, all right, here we go. Now I've got a character. When the season ends, right, I'd have all the things I would need, so in the future I would just play on that character. But my PC save is just ridiculous, like 180 million. I've got the things that I like. I got a good sized ship. I got like a pretty decent multi-tool. I was looking to switch my wife to something else besides Minecraft. Robert's asking about comparisons. How much more complex is No Man's Sky compared to Minecraft? Was his question. Suede says, I jumped into normal mode since I wanted to go through the tutorial, still trying different things to see what I want to do. Impressive how much variety it seems to have now. Right, and I think after you go through that, I think you're definitely going to feel this sense of like the expedition takes all of that and kind of speeds it up. You jump in and they're like, all right, you're on a random planet, random ship, random appearance, do this, do that, It gives you like a couple of things that you got to make sure and do. And the reason I think that feels so good as somebody who has played before is what it's doing is it's taking the charm of the early game and it's giving you a really, really nice morsel, right? It's giving you a nice morsel version of it instead of making you do it from the, like, you're basically starting all the way over. And I think that's really important because, and this is where I think the Diablo format is one of the reasons they replicated this, because the Diablo format was so successful, is when you play a game like Diablo, there is something really enjoyable and I think something very fresh and charming about that early game experience. This idea that you can, go get loot again, start your build all over, enjoy seeing all that new loot drop on the ground, enjoy beating some of those, bosses where, the early game is like super challenging and that you get it in like a bite-sized morsel. And just like No Man's Sky, Diablo 3 seasonal content does the same thing. It slows down, starts to get harder, starts to demand more of you, and starts to become more challenging. And when that happens, you certainly feel that sense of like, okay, now the game is getting into like the grind. Now I'm getting into sort of the meat of what they expect me to do or what they want me to do. I've never played No Man's Sky. How is it for a person like me with ADHD? Will I get bored? I don't think you'll get bored. I think you'll probably get really distracted, and you might find... Now, I don't know how serious your ADHD is, right? Some people self-diagnose, and so they'll say that, and they're just saying it like a colloquialism, like, I have ADHD. If you've been, like, traditionally diagnosed by a professional, and it affects your gameplay in certain ways, you might find some of the things I'm about to say come true for you, okay? So first and foremost, I would say you might find yourself being extremely inefficient at certain things. Like you find yourself not getting certain things done because you're constantly getting distracted. One of the things I always ran into in No Man's Sky and Breath of the Wild, and even oftentimes in Elden Ring, is I'd be like, "Oh, let's do this, guys. Let's get our sights set on this thing." And then I would go to do it and get distracted by like 18 different things. And I would end the stream and be like, oh, we didn't even get to do that one thing I was saying that I was going to do. Now, I'm just a normal player. I don't think I would ever be classified as having like ADHD or any kind of an attention deficit disorder or ADD. I don't think I would be classified in that way. And yet these games really provoke that I think even in the average person, even in somebody who doesn't have some form of a hyperactive brain or a hyperactive attention span, I still think these games promote that. So what you might find yourself doing if you genuinely have some form of ADD or ADHD, you might find yourself saying, I'm really not getting anything done, okay? The question would be after that is, well, are you having fun? Because if this is kind of your life limp, right? If this is this thing that you just kind of limp with through life, we all have our things, right? We all have the things that we deal with. Well, if that's the case, then what I would say is you are probably accustomed to having that happen in games. And I would say you can have a lot of fun in No Man's Sky, even if you're getting distracted a lot and your progress is slow, for a couple of reasons. I think the content loop is really, really good, right? I think the content loop is really, really good. I also think the way that they set up your sense of progression and doing things and earning things, there's always something to do. So even if you're kind of moving through the game a little slow, or you feel like you're not getting, if you feel like you're not getting things done quickly enough, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That means you might always have something left to do. You might always have a box to check, a thing to do, a thing to progress, a thing to level up, a thing to upgrade, instead of feeling like, oh, I'm done. I got everything done. Number one, you're never going to feel that in a game like No Man's Sky. You're especially not going to feel that if you're constantly getting distracted. It does have a creative mode, yes. If you just feel like creating a brand new, giant, awesome space station base, and you're not worried about any of that stuff, you can do that. My stream is very blurry, but I'm at 144. Yeah, it might have dropped your quality if I'm blurry, Sax Boy. I shouldn't be blurry unless you dropped your video quality, which sometimes when we do a redirect, it drops video quality because you switch to a new stream, and YouTube tends to lower quality right at the beginning of a stream because what they want to do is they want to get you right into the content. They don't want you to feel like they don't want you to feel like you have to buffer or take a while to get in. So they usually do that. They usually lower quality right on the outset. That's a common thing they've been doing to it's to lower strain. It's to lower strain on the website too, because with so many people watching videos, that's definitely like a thing they're on the lookout for, is not overloading the website, the servers, and the front end and everything. I'm sure the answer is it depends, but how much grinding is there in general? I think there are lots of micro grinds that are attached to macro grinds, and I find them to be pretty satisfying. So as an example, if you want to do star system hopping, let's say you want to hop a couple of star systems, so you need to make antimatter and you need to make like the antimatter housing, all right? So you need like 4 ingredients. It typically doesn't take that long to acquire enough ingredients to make enough antimatter and to make enough housings and warp fuel to hop numerous star systems, right? I actually think it's good. Like, it's a micro grind attached to a macro grind, and you definitely feel a sense of satisfaction when you're just like hopping. Even if you overshoot and you have more fuel than you need, it feels really good to hop like 4 or 5 star systems and then recharge and do it again. And I don't think the grind to do that is that inordinate, okay? Now, some grinds are going to be slower than others, but by and large, I think the day-to-day meat and potatoes No Man's Sky content that the average person engages with is paced very well. I don't feel like you're hitting a grind where you have to collect something and it feels like you're straining at a gnat. I think that they have it structured in a way to where it feels really, really good. Could we get 14 more likes on this video? Let's get our first 100 likes. See if we can't have let's see if we can't have a stronger second stream than the first stream. Expeditions are 100% optional. Expeditions are basically like a seasonal character in Diablo. You're creating a character that essentially is like, you got 6 weeks to do a bunch of dope stuff. If you do all the dope stuff, then we're going to give you some cool rewards that you can carry over into a normal save. We'll convert you to normal save. If you don't want to convert into a normal save, you can hand off all the cosmetics and all the rewards you earned to your main save if you have one, right? Yo, what's good, old soul? How are you? So that's typically how they're going to treat it. The only real grind is for symbols for the teleport. The rest is good content, says Robert. So Robert is saying that, you know, grinding for the teleport symbols is a bit much, but the rest is just really great. Eugene says, yesterday I recruited frigates to join my fleet, sent them on a mission, then worked on recovering my base and retooling my farms, sold a ship, fought some pirates, explored an ocean. Now, Eugene, how long was your play session? Oh, the expedition gives you the glyphs. That's another good reason for a new player to jump into the expedition. So how long did you play? Because that's one of the benefits of doing the expedition is you get a ship, you get freights, you get all that stuff. I just had a fantastic weekend with the family. Went out on the boat, caught some catfish. There you go, man. That's the way to do it, dude. That's the way to do it. We had a great weekend with the fam and with friends. We've had one person order coffee today, and we've had one new member today. Let's see if we can't get a couple more. If you haven't ordered coffee or considered doing a membership, you can use those commands in chat. We are offering extra content now for members on Thursday afternoon and Friday night. So if you want to get into those members-only streams, $5 a month will get you that. So you're basically getting 2 extra streams a week. That's 10 streams a month, plus increased access in the Discord, and soon forthcoming discounts on the coffee for members as well. I never played the game before. What is this game like? It's a survival space exploration game with a ton of different options of things that you'd like to do. Explore the universe, dig down on a planet and build and base build and try to get really wealthy. There's quests you can work on. There's reputation gains you can work on with the different aliens. The new Outlaws stuff, there's all kind of stuff you can do. You can be like a smuggler if you want to become like Han Solo. You want to become like a pirate. You spent like 15 hours. Okay. You finished the expedition on Saturday. Yeah, I mean, that's... Okay, so 6-ish hours represented everything that Eugene did. So let's break this down. He recruited frigates for his fleet, sent them on a mission, so that's all one thing. Worked on recovering his base and retooling his farms, sold a ship, and fought some pirates and explored an ocean. So that back half, sold a ship, fought pirates, explored an ocean, I'm going to take that as one batch of activities. Worked on recovering your base and retooling farms, that's another batch. And then the first batch is recruited frigates and sent them on a mission. So that's 3 batches of activities spread across 6 hours. So if you consider what he's saying is you could probably take 2 hours and do one of those batches and find that to be pretty satisfying, right? You could fight some pirates, explore an ocean. You could recruit some frigates and send them on a mission. You could start a base and get your farms up and running. Now the farm stuff might take a while, right? I mean that might take a while. You know, because the farming and the base building is meant to be slow because it's meant to be very rewarding once you get everything up and running, right? So I would say in general, there is a there are micro and macro circles you can run in. Some of the circles and the grinds are tighter than others, and so that can lead to varying degrees of satisfaction. You know, what exactly are you wanting to do? Well, certain things are going to take a little bit more time. Like if you're really wanting to build a base and you're really wanting to get a farm going and get rich and get wealthy, that's one of the more slower aspects of the game. But it makes sense. That can't be super duper fast. It can't be, you know, because in general, I think that that needs to be something slower. It'll feel better. It'll feel more earned if it's a slower progress. If you're new to the channel and you've never been here before, this is a Safe for Work broadcast. We do a radio show Monday through Friday, covering all sorts of different gaming news and topics. Remember to hit subscribe if you want to join the conversation. Remember to hit the bell button and always check that sub feed. Check your subscription feed in my channel Monday through Friday. If you don't see that I'm live and you're recommended, always check those 2 locations as well. We are here Monday through Friday. We will be heading over to Reforge Radio this afternoon. We will be discussing that viral video of people singing on a plane and why I think it's stupid and problematic. I like this game, but the bottom line, bugs and over improvements are needed on the bottom line more than new stuff. What exactly do you feel like is buggy and needing improvements in the game, GNS? What exactly? Give me. I actually don't think there's that much. I can't think of anything that's actually that bad right now at all. Went to bed at 11 o'clock. Yeah, she went to bed at midnight. He went to bed at 11. I explored a derelict too. That was fun. Wasn't that a viral video from 2014? Wait, is that video of people singing on a plane actually really, really old? Because people are freaking out about the fact that, like, that's hilarious. Is it really old? Because one of the elements that was frustrating people was the fact that, like, no one was obeying other rules, which we were going to get into that in the discussion. Is it actually a really old video? Can somebody find that out before we go live on radio? That would be amazingly embarrassing for all the people that are, like, losing their minds about the fact that the singing is stupid, but the lack of like following the rules with respect to like the sickie. Yeah, I didn't see a single person wearing them. Yeah. There's an infinite money glitch in No Man's Sky. Oh, there is? Is it multiplayer? Yes, there is. Yeah. You can find other players, visit other players' bases, fly around with other players. Yeah, you can do all that. If I had to build from scratch, 20 hours easy to get where my farm is. Yeah, I think they do that on purpose. It had to be old. Yeah, but Pit Viper, there's plenty of people that don't do that. I just recently traveled, and there were plenty of people that ignored that rule. Like what they do to get on, but once they're on, they don't obey the rule. If it came from 2014, then I would rather just discuss it as a behavioral thing, because that's not an uncommon thing for people to do. As long as the game doesn't crash on me, it's a blast. Always got something to do. Tons of various things you can do or not do, says Dump. Naming planets, I always like that. Yeah, naming planets is really, really fun. It is. Like turning into like almost your own National Geographic. That can be a blast. Yeah, we have our community planet. That's right. That's right. Yeah, we went to Florida Pit, and everybody wears them. And then once you get on the plane, yeah. What's the community planet called? I don't know. If you want to get in the community planet, the best thing to do is to use our Discord, because you could just join someone's game and go there and build a base and a teleporter. I think we called it like Dope Planet or Dopeville or something. What am I eating? Some ham and pineapple. The ham is from yesterday. Yeah, our community plan is pretty dope. Our community plan is pretty dope. We got a lot going on. For a while there, we were really humming. It just didn't work as a game to keep circling back to. It was kind of a bummer because we were having a lot of fun with it. Naming stuff is fun. Sometimes have to work around the censoring a bit. Oh, for sure. Is it still there? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's unclear if this surfaced on April 9th of this year or if this happened April 9th. Nobody knows where the video originated from. Right, green beans, mac and cheese, chicken, ham yesterday after work. That's the way to do it. Yeah, it's sparking debate, and a lot of people are reporting on it. Every news outlet now. Subscribe. Community Planet is still there. There are shacks in my front yard. Yeah, Creature was complaining about that. He said you guys all built in his yard. Regardless, it is relevant. What's relevant? Creature, you're logged in as Reforge updates. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, everybody's reporting on it as if it just happened. It would be pretty funny, though, if it was a really old video. What video you're talking about? So this afternoon over on Reforge Radio, we're going to talk about this video that went viral of like these people singing like, you know, like these Christians opening up in song on a plane, and everybody's obviously, you know, chiming in. Now somebody said it's actually like a really old video, which might actually be true. It might actually be a really old video. You can find crashed ships and fix them or sell them for scrap. I knew it was him because he was complaining about his front yard in No Man's Sky again. Yeah, Creature is quite literally saying, get off my lawn. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing No Man's Sky Outlaws. It's a great time to get back in the game. There are some things to be a little bit cautious about. They definitely make it a little tough sometimes on returning players. Your stuff will be kind of moved around and potentially in disarray. I also think a very basic tutorial would be super helpful. For new players if they want to just jump into the expedition. There's just a lot of expectations and assumptions. So if you're new and you're curious about it, I actually think it's well worth getting into. I think now is one of the best times to get into the game. I basically argued that it is a brand new game, essentially. It's like it's its own sequel. Somebody did a level 1 no-hit on Malekith. Jiminy frickin' Christmas. The Batman is up on HBO Max. Oh, it hit today. Yeah, today's the 18th. I was so upset. I thought it hit on the 15th. So Saturday night rolled around. I thought, we're finally going to get to watch Batman. Yeah, Fuzzy, I don't think it's the first time that it happened, which might be why you're confusing it. Sure. I'm gonna dig a huge moat around. That's the best way to protect your, the best way to protect your stuff in No Man's Sky is to dig a moat around your building. We do have a community planet for those interested if you've never been here before. We do 2 talk shows a day. Sometimes we do talk shows and gameplay. And this morning we talked about Horizon Forbidden West getting DLC and a sequel news. And now we're talking about No Man's Sky Outlaws. There's also a brand new No Man's Sky Expedition 6 just started at the same time. So it's a great time to jump in. If you've got questions, we can help you. Tips, tricks, and just advice. Obviously, I've got some caution for people that are jumping back in that haven't played in a while, or if you're somebody that's jumping in brand new, there is some elements of learning curve and some things you're going to have to get, adjusted. GNS says the pop-in is still buggy even after years. I would like some sort of marker that indicates the it out or so sick of going to an area that I've already mined. Oh. That indicates that it's out of ore. Yes. Yep. CBD isn't far away from a level 1 weathered swords only no hit. Jiminy Christmas. Yo, what's good, King Salty? It seems a couple of weeks old. Somebody tweeted that what would happen if her and her family... Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right, Driz. And we're going to talk about that over on Reforge Radio. So if you're interested in more serious subjects, whether political, cultural, cancel culture, religion, stuff like that, we talk about that stuff over on Reforge Radio. So we'll be going over this afternoon to talk about it. And, yeah. I'm guessing it's current. So that guy, so the guy that tweeted it was actually traveling? Is that what you're saying? We're not trying to discuss it right now, but we are trying to make sure and vet whether or not it's a new video. All these level 1 no-hit speedrun MFers can touch grass. How can one go from starting galaxy to a new galaxy without going to the center of the galaxy to just jump to the next one? Well, there's a couple of ways to do that, Mark. You can just play with another person and it'll take you to where they are. And then you're going to want to craft a base and a teleporter to get back to where they are. Because when you go back to your regular game, it might strand you somewhere. Not that you would ever be truly stranded. That's not possible. Now, somebody asked about servers. It's all instance-based. So when you join somebody, you basically join their instance is what you're doing. And then you can, move around and do stuff with them. So you don't have to like, hey, we got to meet up on the same server. That's not a thing in No Man's Sky. Just so you guys know, some of you that watch our other content, maybe you've been watching the Elden Ring stuff. We came to a conclusion about what we need to do with Elden Ring, and what I want to do is this. I think this will make the game fresh, exciting, challenging. It'll be good content, and it'll also push me and force me to explore the map and do everything all over again. The video is 1 to 2 years old. It was a chartered plane to Haiti for relief or something like that. Akuta Papa, can you get me locked tight info on that in the Discord? That will be a hilarious part of this. Oh my gosh. That'll make it funny. But in any case, what we want to do is, again, I'll have to explore the entire map. I'll have to play the game in a completionist way because I want to do all bosses, no summoning. That's what I want to do. And if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to ratchet up the difficulty, then I can't play on a build that's unfamiliar. So I can't do like a sword and magic build. That's like a really stupid idea. So we're going to have to do full, like really hard strength, sword and board. And because that's where I'm most comfortable. I'm most comfortable with a strength build, sword and board, sword and shield. So that dude definitely looked like he was part of that group. Yeah, we got to research this before we go live over on radio. If you guys are tuning in for No Mans Sky Outlaws, it's a great time to jump in. The beginning of the stream, I outlined the good, the bad, and the future of No Man's Sky. I'm actually curious what you guys think about this. Well, let's shift gears a little bit, but keep talking No Man's Sky. Do you think the news that they're already sort of setting their sights on a new project that's incredibly ambitious and really, really like a really tall order, are you worried that No Man's Sky support is going to slowly start to decline? Now, not that that's a problem, like this isn't like an indictment of Hello Games, right? But the idea that, hey, we're 6 years in, okay? We're 6 years in and it's time to shift to something new. I think that's totally fine. Okay, I think that's totally fine. But I'm just curious what you guys think. As fans of No Man's Sky, you hear that Hello Games is working on a new game, and what if it's just No Man's Sky Expeditions from here on out? No other major updates. Who's to say they won't expand their team? They haven't spoken to that, Sven. That's true. And here's my thought process on this. Let me just give you guys my brief thoughts, and then I want to hear what you think. So if you're new, make sure and subscribe. Chime in the chat. Let us know what you think. We run a safe for work, very interactive, like podcast-style show here Monday through Friday. So here's what I think. I think that the monetization structure at Hello Games is rare, but it works. First, let me establish why I think it's rare. It's rare because they don't charge money for anything. No DLCs, no expansions, no seasons, no battle passes, no microtransactions, nothing. And they've been updating the game for 6 years. The only thing they charge for is the base game. You buy the base game, it's commonly on sale, and you're in. You get every single thing that they build, okay? So I think that's incredibly rare. There's almost no games that set up their monetization structure around that. Find me a game that's supporting itself live service for this many years that doesn't charge money for a single thing, okay? So that's establishing that it's rare. Now, let's establish why it works. Why it works is because they're an incredibly small company. I don't know, 11 to 20 employees or something like that. Like they're not a very large company, okay? Not a very large company, which indicates to me that when they shift priority And Hello Games starts saying, hey, we're looking at building a new game. We're looking at doing something that's even more ambitious than No Man's Sky. It almost sounds impossible to build. You know, Sean Murray says, even if we had 1,000 people working for us right now, it would still seem impossible to build this thing. Does that sound like they're getting ready to shift away? Does that sound like they're getting ready to put No Man's Sky Expeditions as the format? Like, is that the format going forward, or they add that and that's all they add? Right? That's all that they do. They don't do anything else. It's just purely that. Because one of the things I think that has fueled making the expeditions really, really good is that they come coupled with like huge updates for the game itself. Like the core game gets a huge update, and then in conjunction with that, it's like, oh hey, there's also a brand new expedition with lots of great stuff to do. Based on what I'm seeing, it's April 9th of this year, but not 100%. That's even worse. And those videos look like they were at most weeks apart. Okay. It sounds to me like they're going to be hiring a lot of new folks soon. So I'm guessing that no one here knows an answer to my question. What was your question? Hang on, Mark. I was going on a little speech there. Mark says, how can one go from the starting galaxy to a new galaxy without going through the center of the galaxy to jump to the next one? I don't know. I said you might be able to join another player and bypass all that stuff, but I don't even know if that's going to work. Don't you know people treat your word as gospel? What do you mean? Last time asking, how can one go for... Yeah, can somebody answer Mark's question? Because I don't have a good answer. It sounds like I'm feeling another disastrous launch. I really hope I'm wrong, says Anbu. So Anbu's worried. It sounds like another disastrous launch is on the way. And Sven says, it sounds to me like they're going to be hiring a lot of new folks soon. So then that would mean they've got to have some type of an investment or publisher stepping in, Sven. I highly, highly doubt that the monetization structure of No Man's Sky has put them into a position to expand and grow as a developer without them, you know, without them getting funding, without them getting investment. Oh, Sean needs to be quiet. Eugene says Sean needs to STFU. Right, he's like, even if we had 1,000 people working for us, it would seem impossible. That's right, Eugene. It's like, hey, Sean, remember the last time you did a bunch of interviews? It didn't go all that well. Maybe you should stop talking to the press. There's no way you can support 2 games with 20 people. Let's look it up. Hello Games staff size. Currently, Hello Games is on record as having 26 employees, listed as a private company on the Hello Games Wikipedia. 26 employees as of 2 years ago. So they may or may not have expanded since then. Sean's getting cocky again? Not a good sign. Okay, Old Soul is giving you an answer, Mark. He says, Mark, you can't. Tier 2 galaxies are only accessed by traveling to the center of a Tier 1 galaxy. It's all good. I'll just listen to his commentary and not watch with the screen on with his playthrough this time. Wait, hang on. What are you talking about? To be fair to my point, he already didn't use summons for most of the game and used the same build for most of the game. That's not true. With your build, you can do strength, but spec into enough int or faith to equip certain weapons. There's a lot of good faith weapons like Blasphemous Blade that work well with your build. Okay. I want to see what's... So this sort of saying, I'm going to be honest, Lono. What you're proposing as your new Elden Ring strategy is just playing the same exact build that you played most of the first playthrough. Kind of meh. And you only summon for half or less of the bosses the first time as well. So it's really not that different. No, that's not true at all, Distorted. I summoned for every boss. Who did I not summon on? I think the only person I didn't summon on was Godfrey. I literally summoned at every boss. And I switched I switched from strength sword and board about halfway through. Maybe not halfway through. The back 1/3 of the game, I was on double katanas. No, I did sword and board, and then I was on Radon swords for a long time, and then I switched to double katanas. And I summoned for every boss with the exception of, like, Godfrey. And maybe some mini bosses here and there, some dungeons. Like, every big, huge boss I summoned on. I got irritated and summoned almost every freaking time. And you gotta know, if you go against some of these bosses no summon, from the beginning to the end, it's gonna be a very different playthrough. You didn't summon for the bosses you respected? Well, I mean, I summon for pretty much every boss. I don't count the main story bosses as the only bosses. I count all bosses. I don't know, man. Once I got Tiche, I was summoning every time. And I know that was like the back 1/3, but seriously. Fairness where it's due, the bosses where you didn't summon obviously didn't require a summon. Yeah, like little dungeon bosses and stuff, like the cats. What's happening? Welcome in. We're talking No Mans Sky Outlaws. Right now we're on the subject of whether or not you're concerned that Sean Murray says, Hello Games is moving on to building a new title. Do you think that means they're going to lower support for No Man's Sky, or are they going to increase? Screw the Radon swords, get a single great sword, two-hand it, and beat the crap out of them. I summoned on Margaret. I summoned on Godric. I didn't summon on Renala or whatever her name is. The chick with like the moon room. That's just my personal view. It's still totally fine with me. If that's what you and everyone else will enjoy, by all means, I'm all for it. I think it's going to be very different to watch me fight Margit and Godric and Melania and every dungeon, every super annoying fire lizard, like never being able to summon. I don't know. I think it's going to be a very different playthrough. And I'm going to have to consistently like level the character so that my strength is chunking. I'm excited for all the rage due to the slow speed of strength weapons, plus no summons, plus AoE spammer bosses, which are going to annoy Lono so much. Oh, yeah. Try a different build other than melee. No, the only way we're going to get through that game without summons is if I play a build I'm comfortable with, which is going to be a melee-driven build, a strength build. It's the only way to do it. Can't wait to hit Lono with maybe it's the weapon. Are you mentally ready for all the frustration it's going to rain upon you? That's the only way we're going to replay that game and I'm going to enjoy it, is to literally put myself in the trenches. It's the only way. Being overpowered was bored, and trying a build I'm not comfortable with isn't fun. Like, if I try a build I'm not comfortable with, I'm gonna feel like I need to, I don't know. If I'm gonna play the game and do no summons, I'm gonna get so annoyed if I'm trying to do like some build that's awkward for me. It'll be good and rageful, but good. Yeah, if it's self-imposed, it's very different than like, fighting Ishin for 5 hours. I can't get his profile to open in the app. Yeah, I don't. What's his name? Let me look him up. There we go. Users. Okay, there he is. It's private. Yeah, he'll have to approve me. Yeah, I can't see his content unless he approves me. So he's set to private for whatever reason, probably because of the video. You need to use Ashes of War more. You need variety in fighting instead of just jump attacking. There are so many good Ashes in the game. See, Drizzt, that's what I think a strength build's going to push me to do. It's like I'm going to have to be using Ashes of War. Like, what I want to do is run the Guardian one on my shield and then two-hand and run something else. Like be switching between the two. I think that'll be really fun. We're already off topic, man. This we should have stayed on this one too, because we were getting some folks in here. If you're here and want to talk No Man's Sky, chime in, let us know. My question and my position to the chat right now is No Man's Sky is going to need to seek funding from a publisher or an investor if they want to start building another game and simultaneously continue to support No Man's Sky with really big updates and expeditions. If not, they're going to have to shift priority and bandwidth away from No Man's Sky. That's kind of what I threw out there to see what people thought of. This is me doing real investigative journalism. You can find anything in the post date. Yeah, that's the thing. If this is an old video, somebody said it looked like the videos were 2 days apart. Were they on like a private jet or something? You should have a shield, sword, and greatsword on you at all times for that to work well. What if Sony bought them? Yeah, right? Another more ambitious game? That's what Sean Murray said. Yep. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to download it and jump in tonight. I want to check out the Community Planet. Yeah, Community Planet's pretty dope. I may have to buy this game and get ahead of you because you're going to be on my builds. Do it, Eugene. Scroll up to Fuzzy's Twitter link. Oh, does a Twitter link prove it's real? Imagine you get on a plane and you have to listen to this. And the guy replies, I just spent a week volunteering at the train station right across from this place. They were playing to refugees stuck waiting hours for transportation who had just fled. Wait, is it the same people? It is the same guy. It's the same guy on the guitar. It's the exact same guy on the guitar. So they did it again. You have got to be kidding me. I need that tweet. Yeah, we're gonna get into that on radio, Sven. Hang on, I gotta get this in my I'm gonna shove it in another room so I have it for later. I want that tweet for later. I've got it. Okay, we gotta save that for Reforge Radio. I'm sure that's gonna be a fun one. That's gonna be a fun topic. Because, like, I've been open and honest about the fact that I'm a Christian, but, like, that... Let me react to what happened, please. Let me react to what these people are doing as someone... Oh, golly. It should be good. I'm not going to I'm not going to hold back. Why would No Man's Sky need a sequel, says Brutal. I don't see how the benefits of a sequel are worth it in this era. Oh, I actually don't think it needs a sequel, Brutal. I argued in the open... that the sequel of No Man's Sky has already been created. The sequel for No Man's Sky has already been created inside of No Man's Sky for the last 6 years. Like, they've already made it. For those who are wondering, the group who did this is called Kingdom Run Ministries run by this guy. It appears to be off his personal Facebook page, but still up on Instagram. Oh, so they've been taking the video down everywhere. Oh no, there are people on the plane wearing. There are people on the plane wearing masks. That 100% is this is recent footage. This is recent footage. If you watch the look at that freeze frame in the Discord right now. There's somebody behind the bald guy wearing one. Is it bad I haven't watched a plane vid yet? It's not that interesting. It's not that interesting. It is not that interesting, trust me. So yeah, I don't think it needs a sequel. I think they build a sequel. The question that I'm posing, Brutal, is I'm purely making an observation, and this is my observation. Okay? Hello Games is a small company. 26 employees. As of 2 years ago, they had 26 employees. Their monetization structure works because they're a small company. Their monetization structure is kind of crazy. Think about it. Their monetization structure is you buy the game at full price and that's it. That's the end of it. You never have to do anything ever again. You don't have to pay for a skin, a jacket, a helmet, a ship, nothing. No microtransactions at all. No Mans Sky Outlaws just landed. The latest No Mans Sky Expedition 6 just landed. All totally free. Now, the reason that monetization structure works is because they're a small company. So, my thought process is this. A small company with a unique monetization structure starts building their next game. And it's so ambitious that Sean Murray says it might seem impossible to certain people. Like, this is just crazy. How are you going to do this? Okay. Given their size and monetization structure, the only way they're building another game is by either shifting away from No Man's Sky, or they're going to get funding, get a publisher, get an investor, something, and expand the company. Eugene says, I bought the game day one physical. I just bought it again this weekend because they earned it. Yeah, I think it's well worth it. Like, they definitely earn people's support and deserve people's support with the way they've treated the game, built the game, the way they respected their product, their artwork, the way they've, respected the community. But I'm just applying pretty basic logic here. I don't think a company this size starts shifting to a new game without shifting away from the existing, unless they get funding, they get an investor, and they expand the company. Imagine living in an era where no monetization is a novel business model for a game. Well, now hang on, Vapor. It's a novel business model for an ongoing game for 6 years. That's almost impossible to do in all other fields of gaming. An ongoing 6-year supported game, updated, and they never charge a single dadgum cent. And the updates that they put out, they should have charged money for, if you think about it. But they just haven't. Lono, do you think their small size is actually an asset? People are getting tired of perpetual payments, and No Man's Sky could leverage that. Oh, for sure. For sure. No Man's Sky has micros. No, it doesn't. I said that the other day, and I got shot down. I thought they had like a micro store, and they had like this currency and this stuff that you could do, and people were like, no, there's no micros in No Man's Sky. I got smacked down real quick for that one. Go to their game right now in Steam. There is Buy No Man's Sky right now for $30. There is no other things I can buy for No Man's Sky. Nothing. There's not an expansion, there's not a DLC, there's not a currency. Not a single thing. You guys in Discord, you're burning the topic. You got to save your commentary for when we're over on radio. We were only trying to vet the date of the video. I know it's hard, but you guys have got to try to bottle it. I thought you could buy the special currency. No, you cannot buy the special currency. I thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing, Akuta Papa. I thought, oh no, you can buy the special currency and then get all the cool stuff. And people are like, no, you can't. They have an in-game currency that you earn for free, Quicksilver. Yeah, you cannot buy Quicksilver. I thought the exact same thing, Akuta Papa, and I spoke the other day, and I got corrected. Can't stop the hot topic. Yeah. No. It'll be good. Reforge Radio has been a lot of fun. Like, Reforge Radio, there's always something to talk about for the most part. There's almost always something to talk about. But gaming has been tough, man. Gaming has been tough. There's almost nothing happening, and then YouTube's making it worse by being YouTube. I may be wrong, says Real King Salty, but I think No Man's Sky might get morphed into an MMO format. Next, we will see corporations, a full player-driven market, possibly alliances and such. I think it could work. I think morphing No Man's Sky into like a player-driven MMO could work. It already kind of is that. The question would be, is that their goal? And does that line up with all of the other supporting structures that they're building? Expansions, expeditions, quest-driven content, you know. I don't know. The Outlaws thing might be them dabbling and testing that out. It certainly is possible that they're dabbling. We are an hour into this talk show. Could we get 50 more likes to roll over to 200 likes? We are kind of back to ground level. We're back to ground zero of squeezing blood from a stone. We got to smash those like buttons, talk in the chat, say good morning, say good afternoon, all those things. We got to really, really push hard right now. And memberships, coffee, all of that as well. If you guys haven't done that yet, don't forget, every Thursday afternoon there's an extra stream for members, and Friday nights there's a stream for members. And this week's community game night, Fortnite. Get it installed. It's free. It's cross-platform on every platform. So get Fortnite installed and updated. Even if you don't like it, we're gonna have fun on Friday night. It's members only. We're gonna do squads in the no build mode, and it should be a blast. Also, we do live streams like this Monday through Friday. We do 2 live streams a day here on gaming, and we do a 3rd live stream over on Reforge Radio. And this is going to continually sound weird, but I need you to trust me on this, okay? We are looking into simultaneously simulcasting to TikTok. It is becoming, I think, a more serious platform. They're looking into longer form content as well as live streams. So they are taking themselves a little bit more seriously, and we need 200 more followers over there to unlock live streaming. So if you use that platform, go look for Reforge TV. Just Reforge TV. If you see the troll on there who's doing impersonation, just block. Like that's not me. But just at Reforge TV. TikTok series. I think, looking at the landscape and looking at the future, Abe, yes, I actually think it's going to be one of the bigger platforms in the next 5 years for live streaming. Do you play other RPGs and MMOs? I dip and I dabble for sure, right? I dip and I dabble for sure, but we generally do a talk show here. Like, I played a ton of Elden Ring. I played Horizon Forbidden West to completion. We dabbled in Lost Ark. We dabbled in New World. We'll probably dabble in Ashes of Creation when it comes out. I can't commit long-term to playing MMOs, though. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't. I enjoy your debate content. So hard to find people who aren't so hot to take one side no matter how dumb it is. Oh, I appreciate that, Manny. Thanks for being here and supporting it. Listen, if you guys have never done a membership on this channel or my other channel, I get it. Times are tough. But if you can do the $5 a month membership, we're offering a bunch of new stuff now for members that we were not previously offering every Thursday afternoon and then Friday night. I am considering also doing like little behind the scenes vlogging content as well. If you guys like that kind of thing, it would be members only. That's surprising. I'm never getting on that platform. They've been collecting way too much info for my liking. More than other SM platforms. I don't know how you can compare them to Google and think that. My girlfriend showed me TikTok streaming. It's nuts. Eugene, it's taken off. Yeah, it went from a woman sewing to viewer request ASMR to home improvement. Viewership's crazy. It's a spending culture. Yeah, and most of the content's not very high quality. Yeah, It's a doom scroll if I've ever seen one. Well, it can be. It can be. All of them had thousands. Yep. Yeah. It's big. Big, big thing. Which is kind of sus. I don't think so, because, like, find the ones that don't have lots of people watching and find the ones that do. Compare chat activity and spending, and you can tell it's real. I'm not saying people aren't juicing. I'm sure there's juicing over there, but there's a big difference between the real successful guys with a couple thousand and the guys with like 400. That you can tell the spending culture is like so different. I'm in the market for a new cam. What are you using? A Sony A6000. It depends on what you're going to use the camera for, Captain Toasty Buns, because if you're going to do lighting like this, I would look into cameras that have settings for LED lighting. If you can do some research into that. We had a significant struggle with the LED lighting because they flicker at a frequency and my camera picks up on it, and we can only use certain colors. So the A6000 is a great mirrorless digital SLR camera, but it doesn't do that well with LED lights and how they flicker at a certain frequency. So thank you, Behemoth, for following me over there. I appreciate you throwing me a follow on TikTok. Again, I know it sounds crazy. I know that it sounds legitimately kind of crazy, but just you guys need to trust me on this. I watch the industry. I make pretty solid predictions about where things trend and where things go. And I think TikTok's going to be very different in 5 years. I think the Purple platform is going to become a quasi-adult site in the next 5 years. I'm really interested in what Amaranth's going to do with her big announcement. I actually think there's a chance TikTok is gone in a few years, at least in the U.S. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like in the last 2 weeks, the platform's already cleaned its act up. I've seen a lot of the crap get removed. I've seen a lot of the bad live streams get removed. I don't know. I see guys over there with, legitimate business setups where they're doing all kind of stuff. The one guy's like, he's doing ASMR and opening up Pokemon cards. He's got a YouTube. He's got all this stuff. I mean, it's crazy. It's genuinely nuts. You telling me that it'll become Purple and Purple will become TikTok? I don't know about that. I don't know, Sax Boy. What they need to do is they need to open up the possibility to use OBS again. They shut that down real quickly. Right? They need to bring that back. Or how in the world are you going to do good gameplay streams? People like set up their dadgum camera and like point at their monitor. It looks freaking terrible. That's a good word. I have a bunch of LEDs in the background, so thanks for the insight. I'm trying to beef up the studio setup so I can hand my old stuff over to the missus. Yeah, I believe Captain Toasty Buns, I believe there are cameras that can film LED no problem. The A6000 is not one of those cameras. I saw they're under investigation for not protecting minor data or something along those lines. Yeah, they're going to go through the same thing YouTube did with COPPA, no doubt. It's that platform is not regulated very well at all with respect to that. I think Purple's going to go through the same thing. I think the COPPA crackdown's coming for both platforms. It happened to YouTube already. TikTok wants to tone down the butt shaking, but we know it's a process. Yeah. They're going to have to get in line with COPPA first, too. So. Akuta Papa says, look up X4 Foundations. The game is a single-player space game, very, very in-depth. It has its own economy and everything. You can win in multiple ways. The game is kind of the base for No Man's Sky, but without going on to planets. I'd be really interested to see what would happen in No Man's Sky if they ever allowed any kind of like player-driven economy. right? Another follower over there. Yo, my man Death. Thank you, Death. Another follower over there on the talk. Thank you. What do they call it? What do the kids call it? Do they call it the talk? Do they call it the tick? Do they call it the tick-tock? Do they call it the ticky-tock? Do they call it the ricky-ticky-tabby? What do they call it? When the graphics are working right, unfortunately it gets blurry after a while of playing it. The only way to fix it is a restart. You're having that experience with No Man's Sky? The people collecting the data also makes a difference. The app's been reverse engineered and is collecting every single possible thing on the phone. Huh. I guess. What's the TikTok? It's just Reforge TV. If you want to follow us on any of those platforms, by the way, Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram, it's all just Reforge TV. Creature's like, so like Google then. If you use the app in China, it's very well regulated. There's even reports that the booty stuff is specifically pushed to the West. I'm telling you, it's really good at curating as well. So all I see now is like pastors and preachers and Jordan Peterson because of the stuff that I've been uploading and like political commentary. So I don't see that anymore. I see ASMR live streamers, but I don't see that other stuff anymore almost at all because I don't consume that. I consume, you know, and this guy, I love this guy, the guy that talks gym workout. He's amazing. Zao 15. He does like mountain climbing and stretching and working out, and he's like a physical trainer, and he does these little speeches, he does these little videos, and he's like, the goal is not running. He's like, the goal is to be more in shape. So you don't have any emotional connection to running. He's like, so stop complaining about something that you don't care about. Like, he's really funny. He swears quite a bit, but he's very funny. Are you going to have a topic on the MCU on Reforge Radio? Would like your thoughts on the direction of the MCU headed compared to DCU. I was thinking that I would watch the Moon Knight series and then have 30 come back on the show. That's what I was thinking. To have him come back on, just talk about the MCU, talk about Moon Knight. Maybe we could have Saul come back on too. You need David Goggins in your life? I don't know who that is. Why would you do that to yourself? I don't trust anybody's opinion on the MCU TV shows anymore because I virtually didn't agree with anybody about WandaVision or Loki or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Right? I didn't agree with almost anybody about those shows. So I just don't trust people anymore on the MCU shows because I thought WandaVision and Loki were the strongest out of the bunch. I thought WandaVision was brilliant, and almost anytime we bring it up, people talk about how they didn't like those two. Been on calls all morning, considering lighting my house on fire and starting a new life elsewhere. What's good, Zubair? Check out Hybrid Calisthenics if you like that kind of content. Super humble, insightful creator. I don't watch him for that type of content. I watch him because he's funny. I'm not doing the stretches. I'm not working out. I'm not taking his advice. I watch him because he's funny. It has nothing to do with it. Loki was great for me literally until the end. Yeah, I just think I'm really easy to please in the MCU. I just think I'm really easy to please. So when people are like, oh, it was bad, or oh, it was okay, it was mediocre, or oh, the art was great, but it was lazy, or oh, it was great until the end, I'm like, I loved every minute of it. So I just, when people are like, oh, don't watch it, it's bad, I'm like, yeah, I don't take anything people say about the MCU seriously anymore. Because I'm not on that wavelength. I'm not on the wavelength. I'm on the wavelength of like very easy to please. Oh, is it MCU? It's got some cool stuff. It's got some cool characters. Like Hawkeye was great. I loved it. You know, and there are people like, it was so boring. Hawkeye was so lame. I was like, I loved it. You know what I mean? I don't know. When MCU comes up for the shows, I just don't listen to people. I'm like, cool, man. You didn't like it? It doesn't have anything to do with me. How much time do I have to do my taxes? They didn't do an extension this year, did they? I think they did last year. My CPA my CPA didn't get stuff done on time, so I think we got to file for an extension again. I don't know why. I got everything in like end of last month. Like there was an entire week left in March. I was like, I don't understand. You had 3 weeks. Haven't heard a thing. Whatever. Same thing happened. I think the same thing happened last year. And it's so dumb. It's like I can't give you everything until about halfway through March. I don't have everything until then. Like, it's not like I get everything in February nice and timely and can send you everything. I don't have everything. So I typically send everything about halfway through March. This year, I waited 1 extra week. I waited a little bit longer. But still, it's like I don't have everything. This is the best endorsement I can give Moon Knight. Halo is a little bit better. Yeah, I can guarantee you I won't see eye to eye with people on Moon Knight. Because we're like, what, 4 for 4 now? How many MCU shows have they done? Yeah, 4, right? It was WandaVision, it was Loki, it was Hawkeye, it was Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're 4 for 4 of me not really agreeing with almost anybody about those shows. I thought they were great. I loved them. They were enjoyable. I didn't get nitpicky at all. There was one moment in Falcon and Winter Soldier that I thought got a little too preachy, got a little kind of cringy, but like they were trying to channel the Captain America thing, so I kind of looked past it. Like, other than that, we're 4 for 4. So when people talk about the MCU TV shows, I'm like, yeah, I genuinely don't care what you have to say. Because I have not lined up with anybody up to now. I just haven't. 530 hours in the game. I've yet to do an expedition. The pirates are a little much. The spammy settlement bug is annoying. I wish they would fix the graphics bug, but none of this is enough to stop me playing. Yeah, we got halfway through What If, and we want to go back and watch it. Yeah. We didn't finish What If. I was enjoying What If quite a bit. I was enjoying What If quite a bit. Yeah, we liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. quite a bit as well. We really liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We loved Punisher. I loved Daredevil. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm real easy to please. MCU, cool. Great cast, cool. Well, I'm watching it. I'm having a blast. Do. There you are, Vapor. Thanks for the follow over there, Vapor. We're inching there. We're getting there. How about not having terrain fill in underground builds? I'm not sure why they can't allow buildings to turn off terrain generation when they're placed. Yeah, there's got to be something with that. Like, why don't that you think that would be a pretty easy solution, Salty, but like obviously I'm not making the game, so I can't really speak to it. You know, I can't really speak to it. But it does seem like, hey man, I built a box here. Can you just apply a very simple rule that terrain can't grow in the box? I can use the terrain manipulator to remove terrain. So the game has the ability to both stop, block, and remove terrain. You just apply that rule to the outer walls of the structure. You know what I'm saying? If I place a floor tile, it auto-deletes anything above it within a square. I don't know. I'm not saying it's simple, but it's like the mechanics are already in the game to remove, adjust, or block terrain. Like, why Maybe it's because of the way that terrain exists. Why does it regrow is the question. Why does it consider... Like, I get plant life needing to regrow. I get that, because you go out and you harvest it all, and if you're on, like, a really cool planet, you want all the cool glowing trees and glowing rocks to come back. Like, you want all those things to come back. Like, it makes perfectly good sense to bring those things back. But at the same time, it's also like, well, wait a minute. Like, I don't want a tree growing in the center of my house. Like, No Man's Sky crafting is one of the central pieces of what people enjoy doing. And they still haven't managed to get one of the most basic tenets down, which is leave my structure alone once it's placed. Like, don't let stuff grow into it or inside of it. I don't know. It's weird. Almost 33% of people have killed the Elden Beast on Steam. Crazy seeing how long Elden Ring is. For all we know, it might be a whole redo of the terrain system. It might not be as simple with the way that's currently coded. There were desync issues on the community planet from where I remember too, like not everybody could see all the stuff. Oh yeah, the desync issues were huge, for sure. They were absolutely massive. That's what ticked me off about the community planet. I have a dope build, but my basement is constantly grown over. I just gave up. If I stay gone too long, my complex will be a jungle, says Creature. I enjoyed Loki right away. WandaVision was slow and nearly lost interest in the first episodes, then it got better. Anybody know if there's a Fight Club 2? They didn't do a Fight Club 2. That would be really weird. That's the kind of movie you can't do another one of. That wouldn't make any sense. From the discussion earlier, do we know how the financial of Hello Games is doing? With their small team, how much of their reserves they used up? Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, their monetization structure is really strange because everything we know about selling video games, they can't be selling that many copies this far out. So how can they fund a new game without... Now I guess I could see it another way. they could kind of split it down the middle and really maintain and do great things and continue to update and add and do expeditions for No Man's Sky, and that continues to hopefully drive purchases because they don't sell anything. You know, so the only way you get money is by doing big enough updates, getting big enough press, so that batches of people are buying the game when it's on sale or when it's full price or whatever, and that is how they make their money. And then that money would fund the new game, right? Because right now, what is it? Yeah, so prior to the update, they were maintaining about 7,000 peak players a day. And since the update, they've climbed, and now they're hitting, player peaks of about 30,000 every 24 hours on Steam charts. So, like, the question is, out of that 30,000, are they getting, that's just 30,000 for a given day. So out of all those people that are coming into the game right now on a regular basis, how many of those people are, how many of those people are new, buying the game at full price players? And now it's not full price, it's been discounted. Because if that's a regular generation of funds and money, then the question becomes, at what level is that supporting the company? Is it supporting the company to continue reinvesting in No Man's Sky, or is it supporting the company to, like, expand? The game makes it pretty easy to pick up back where you left off. I actually think that is one of the areas where it's weak. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's certainly one of the weaker aspects. Any new purchases are usually 50% off around every update, which further reduces income. Right. Or it doesn't reduce income. I mean, maybe all the research points to the fact that that's the really only way to move copies at this stage of the game. It's a 6-year-old game, right? Now, it could be really appealing to people, throughout the gaming community. It could be really winsome when they see that entrance cost and they see nothing else attached to it. No DLC, no nothing. Didn't Hello Games create a new engine for No Man's Sky? I think all of it's proprietary to No Man's Sky. They didn't have a game like No Man's Sky before that they could, like, borrow the engine from. There's no hard numbers, but it was the most sold game back in the day. Estimates are that they sold 6 to 8 million copies at launch, so they could have made around 480 million, and there are only 26 people. Yeah, but you spread the 480 across 6 years, right? That's 80 million a year. So I mean, that could... How much of that had to go to investors? Because, I mean, who was helping invest and publish at that time would be the question. They get money from Microsoft for the Game Pass deal too. That's true. That's true. They also get that. $6 to $8 million on PS and PC. Came out for Xbox later. Yeah, but they had to owe money to somebody. Somebody was publishing and helping put the game out at that point in time, were they not? Did I miss No Man's Sky? I mean, we discussed it for about an hour or so now. I'm not really sure. I'm just gonna have to keep strategizing with Creature because I really don't know what we're supposed to do right now. I really don't. I don't really understand what the problem is. We've covered this game and other games like this in the past, even when news isn't that great, and we've never experienced what we've been experiencing. We're going into another week now and just having the same just bewildering dead feeling. I don't understand it. I don't understand what we're supposed to do. I can't do this though. I can't sit here for 6 hours and just sit and not. There's like, I can't do it. So, folks, we're excited about the radio topic, so we'll be shifting over there in a moment. The chat was not in sync. Well, sometimes you just get a little bit behind and you have to refresh. That happens sometimes with chat and the stream. No Man's Sky gameplay? No. That wouldn't make a difference. It doesn't matter what we do right now. It just doesn't. It doesn't matter what we do or cover. Nothing is hitting. I don't understand. I don't understand what we did wrong. I don't understand what's broken, but it's just absolutely demoralizing. We doubled the channel sub count, and we're doing worse than when we came over here. Like, I don't know what the frick I'm supposed to do. Sony was the publisher for No Man's Sky, and Sony botched it. Right, so if we look at what 30 outlined, right, they made $480 million, but how much of that went to Sony would be the real question. How much did Sony help fund the game? Because you got 26 people, so you would hope that the number of years they spent working on it, right? The number of years they spent working on the game would be a smaller budget than if, like, Sony was footing the bill for Insomniac or Guerrilla to build a game. Right? I streamed the new Expedition last week. It didn't do well either. There's no quick solution. I appreciate people making suggestions. I do. I know you guys are like helpless to fix it, and so am I. Switching to gameplay isn't going to change anything. We streamed that last week on Thursday. Weren't there like 6 people in the beginning? They had 14 when it came out. Right. So whatever Sony was doing to fund the game, like at that point in time, you know, that money out of the $480 million, then you got to take whatever was left out of the $480 million. Then you got to spread that over 6 years. Then you got to spread that over the staff and whatever they're investing in. So, have you considered a hot tub stream? No. Nope. I just know that what we do can't work. It can't work if YouTube is quite literally killing us. That we can't do what we do. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. What we do doesn't work with dwindling numbers every day. Less and less people every day. And I haven't been talking about it. We talked about it twice last week. We didn't talk about it at all today. I've been warning people to check their sub feed and to check my channel. So we're not driving people away by talking about it. We are intentionally not bringing it up. We can't do this without YouTube funneling people in here. It just doesn't frickin' work. So we're getting ready to jump over to radio because I don't know why it only happens on No Man's Sky. I mean, we covered a potential Horizon Forbidden West sequel this morning. Last week, we covered Cyberpunk. We covered Halo. We covered Call of Duty. We covered Epic and Sony. We covered No Man's Sky. Like, Elden Ring did great. I don't know. It's hard not to look at these members-only streams on Friday and just wondering if that's what it is. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know. We should be able to hit the ground Monday with two pretty decently popular, titles and meet some folks and have a good day, and it just isn't happening. Hopefully No Man's Sky redid the contract and didn't give Sony as much money. Well, the whole theory that I'm positing is centering around the idea is, even though they're small, and even though Sony's budget to fund No Man's Sky was probably smaller than other budgets, the money that they're making now selling a title at full price, right? At full price, we're 6 years out from when the game launched, so there's no way they're moving high quantities of copies, right? Then how is that funding them shifting away from No Man's Sky? Like, that's the question. Are they going to have to do both? Or are they going to have to continue supporting No Man's Sky to fund the new project? Or do they have a publisher lined up? Like, do they have an investor lined up? Are they working with Sony again? And is that like a rebuilt relationship after everything that happened? Because, like, they wanted to delay the game again, and Sony basically wouldn't let them. So I don't know. When I look at it right now, I can't see them doing both No Man's Sky and a new project, like a new game. I can't see it. I just don't see it working. Because where's the money coming from? They've got to have somebody funneling, like, they've got to have somebody publishing or investing in whatever they're doing. Because surely what they made on the initial sales of the game have run out by now. And they're like, my household gave them 6 sales. It's basically word of mouth at this point. Yeah. And I mean, look at the player base numbers. They went from hitting like 6,000 and 7,000 player peaks to what did we just say? 26 to 30, like 31,000. If it's the members only streams causing an issue, it's an ironic kick in the nuts. That's what I'm saying. As soon as we did I started doing members only stuff, that's when all this happened. Like, it really makes me wonder. It really, really does. It's like, I don't know. And that's the thing, is you'll get paranoid and you'll drive yourself crazy. Because that's what Creature's always saying. There's 99 heads. There's 99 heads. It's never one thing. It's never one thing. It's never one thing. It's like, well, we literally did one members only thing, and then ever since it's like somebody smacked us with a stick. I don't understand it. They're not a AAA studio, though. They're still indie. Right. But you still need... Okay, so they don't need, like, a ton of funding. They just need healthy revenue. Right? Nobody here cares about No Man's Sky. We're all here for discussion, debate. Major Mischief, I appreciate your attempt to be encouraging. I am not reading what you're saying because I actually don't agree with any of the things that you're saying. Because there's plenty of people here that love No Man's Sky, play No Man's Sky, played it over the weekend, are excited about No Man's Sky, and they're discussing it with me right now. Like, it's just simply not true. There's tons of people right now that are interested in No Man's Sky. Members-only events have a habit of making non-members slam it in reverse. Well, that's extremely unfortunate if that's the case. Yeah, 30,000 over the weekend on Steam. Yeah, they hit 31. Yeah. Yo, Hellfire with 14 months. Welcome back in. Fair enough, retracted. Yeah, like, I appreciate when people are trying to be positive, but when you just start speaking in platitudes like that, it just isn't helpful. There are tons of people here that love No Man's Sky and are playing, and they think it's dope. It doesn't have anything to do with the core audience. That's why I hate bringing it up, because it's not the core audience's fault. It's YouTube's fault. YouTube did something, and we have literally no control over it, and it's really, really, really hard to do what I'm good at when we lose the electricity. I need electricity. You know what I'm saying? I'm like a power cable. If you're not funneling electricity through me, I can't freaking do anything. I can't have discussions. I can't have debates. I can't be lively. I can't go on rants. I can't do a talk show when we can't get the momentum. You know what I mean? It's not fair to you guys. You guys can't carry the conversation for 6 hours. That's not fair to expect from you. We gotta get new blood. You gotta get new people in the chat to get provoked, to get angry, to get, you know what I mean? Like, you know the days where I debate Mo? You need more Mo's in the chat. You need more people to, like, take up a position and to, like, be a huge fan of a game. You know what I mean? Or to be a huge fan of something. I cannot do what I'm good at if we keep losing the momentum, because, like, then we're not doing the thing that we do. It's literally just me and members hanging out. It's like, well, that's great, but we can't do that. Can't do that long term. It's not even No Man's Sky's fault. It isn't No Man's Sky's fault. I'm not going to blame the topic. We can't blame the topic after last week. We had plenty of bangers. I can carry any conversation. Give me cookies and I'll fight Zubair for them. We need more Mo's and less Abes. Mo is one of a kind, says MJ. I love Lono, but I hate No Man's Sky. Oh man, No Man's Sky is still to this day a very hated game. It's really funny. When we used to try to stream this game back in the day, so they would do really big updates and everybody'd get excited and jump back in. There were people that were committed to they would come in and be like, this game sucks, this game blows, dead game, da-da-da-da-da. It was like, basically, No Man's Sky hurt people. it hurt people's feelings. And they were committed to every time they did an update, people had to make sure and come in and tell you, this game sucks, this game blows. It was just like, gee, many Christmas. Like, it was really funny how long standing those people would do it. I think 2 years in, it was still a pretty regular occurrence. One of my friends is like that with games. Once the game lets him down, it sours him. He's over it and he's moved on. There's no second chance for redemption with games for him. Yeah, there's a lot of people that way. Once the bridge is burnt with the game, it's over, right? All the images are bad. Okay, the picture's great, you creature, but I don't know about putting in big yellow letters, Air Christ. I don't know. Is that the meme? Is that what people are calling it? Leave the hair. I'm going to say this with as much respect as I can muster. If I play with my hair, leave me the frick alone. Seriously, leave me the frick alone. Let me touch my hair if I want to touch my dadgum hair. I get so tired of seeing that in the chat. I mess with my hair sometimes. It's what I do. I don't need told not to do it. My YouTube feed's been jacked up the last few weeks. I have to dig to find you, and I have all kinds of random crap suggested. It feels like the more I say I'm not interested, the more I get. Twitter does the same thing. I'll see something trending. I'll see something trending on Twitter, and I'll literally click the 3 dots. I'll say I'm not interested, and 2 hours later, it's back. You know what I mean? 2 hours later, it's back. It's like, wait. I wasn't just not interested for that minute. I'm like saying, I'm not interested in this subject. You know what I mean? Make it a playoff Con Air. Christ Air. No, I don't. Air Christ is just a little offensive. Can we not we got to come up with something else. I think top line Christians, and then on a plane, like snakes on a plane, Christians on a plane. Maybe that is like that's not trending on irreverent. It's like, you know, I don't know. I propose a portrait of Jesus for your thumbnail. Yeah, Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan. I don't understand why you don't just ride Elden Ring till the wheels fall off with the donkey. We did, and we had to stop. We had to stop. You want to be unoffensive or have people to talk to? Well, it's not about being unoffensive. It's that I don't want that on there. Yeah, Elden Ring will kill us. We rode Elden Ring for about a week longer than we should have. We probably should have stopped after about it. Probably should have stopped a week earlier, but there wasn't really anything major going on, so it was like easy to justify. It was like there's no news. There's nothing. You know what I mean? So, you know. Like, I've been telling some of the people that I know in like my real personal life what I'm doing. And like the last thing I would want like one of my fellow churchgoers to see is like come to the channel and see me making some kind of a joke like that. Like, because I wouldn't make a joke like that. It's not on brand. You have to think about like the fact that I'm a real person and exists in the real world. This isn't just me talking about Marvel movies. I agree at the end of the day, you have to acknowledge that No Man's Sky team's done magic trick pulling it out of the ditch. I think their scale and size is, you know, it's funny though. It's funny to you. Funny is subjective, is it not? Like, you know me. Do you think you're going to argue me into putting that on the thumbnail? Like, are we going to, is now the appropriate time for that? Like, am I in the right frame of mind to debate that? Like, are we thinking this is a good strategy right now? Let's debate Lono on the funniness of Air Christ. Let's see if we can win him over. He's in the mood for that, I'm sure. I'm sure he's in a popping good mood to debate that. Coming on, oh gosh, no, we're not doing that one. You can go back to 2014 and claim, well, you said this and you showed this. When as time progressed, they scaled all that back and tried to reset expectations. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is like, I get people wanting to go back to the interviews with Sean Murray and be like, you know, you said this and da-da-da and blah, blah, blah. And obviously they couldn't come out and say, hey, by the way, we've done 2 years of interviews and we can't retroactively go back and really keep track of everything that we promised, but it's gonna be a very different game. They wouldn't have been able to do that. Like, Sony would have shot that down so quick because you can't go out and create like a lack of consumer confidence. Like, you can't do that. You can't like go out and say, hey, guess what? Our game's gonna kind of suck. You see what I'm saying? So like they didn't really have much of a choice. They had to just kind of like continue and press on while softly saying, yeah, no, you're not really going to be able to do multiplayer. Multiplayer is not really the focus of the game. Like, if you expect to see a player out there, that's really not the goal of the game. That's really not why you should buy the game. Like, all those things were stated 10 times over, but it was too late. It was too late. You said one thing one time, and then that got published in a blog, and that got published in an article, and that article got turned into a video, and that video got watched and clipped and reclipped and reposted. And so, you know, there's not a whole lot. There's just not a whole lot that you can do to fix that. You know, there's just not a whole lot you can do to fix that. So I felt bad for Sean Murray because he got kind of taken to the ringer. Christians on a plane. Why are Christians singing on a plane? We're missing an A. I love the repetition. I love the repetition. Oh man, Christians on a plane. Why are Christians singing on plane? Like this guy doesn't speak English. Singing on a plane. Christians on a plane. I think it works. I think the picture you got is literally perfect, Creature. Like he embodies everything that drives me crazy about those kind of people. I just like totally zero self-awareness. This is great, isn't it? Call it Aviator Jesus. Yeah, that was pretty funny, but that was a different time. Preaching to the choir. Oh, golly. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think that's fine. Other than the punctuation adjustment. I think it's a good topic. It's just one of those things where even when we have like really good topics and really good things to talk about over on radio, I don't even particularly know what to call it sometimes. Because I was like, what are people searching for? You know? And the thing that I kept consistently finding that was getting the best results, like people were calling it Christians singing on plane, right? The Christian singing on plane viral video is like what everybody was calling it. Because you're trying to be like, what are people calling this dadgum thing? Because a lot of times viral videos suddenly get a meme attached to them, like hashtag, you know, thankfully it's not hashtag Air Christ. Because I don't want that on the thumbnail, but, you know. For half a second, that's what I thought was going on. I thought, oh no, that's what it's called. You know. Can Andrew come on and rate the performance? That would be such a good episode. He is unfortunately they're in whatever, I forget what state they're in. They're working on the album right now, so he's knee deep. He and I aren't able to connect right now and do anything. We were connecting like every weekend to kind of brainstorm about the show and like what the show would be like and, you know, the branding and everything else. And yeah, he's neck deep making an album right now. New show topic: Christianity in the MCU. Like, how can you have faith when Thor and others exist? Oh, like when Captain America is like, they're practically gods. There's only one God, ma'am, and he doesn't dress like that. It's such a good line, though. It's such a good line. I saw people making fun of that, though. You know what I mean? Like, sees two gods, still only believes that there's one or something. I saw that. And they're like poking fun at Cap. Poking fun at Cap's monotheism. Call it Christian error. People are probably searching more for Ilhan. Ilhan's response definitely. Oh, maybe we might want to add that to the description, because I know that got traction. I'm not seeing. What's their full name? Oh, Ilhan Omar. Maybe am I misspelling it? I'm misspelling it, that's the problem. That's one of the challenges when you have a name with a unique spelling like that. Yeah, it doesn't seem like. Yeah, I can't find a good funnel here because she's commented on a ton of stuff. New York Post is a news article. Yeah, there's tons of articles about it. Like, that's why I was like, well, let's talk about this. Because, like, for me, I wanted to talk about it as someone who's like, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. This would be like seeing an embarrassing video of, like, your uncle or brother on the news. You're like, why the frick are you doing that? That's, like, what it feels like. Mile High Ministry. Okay, that's funny, but again, no. I can't. I can't, dude. I have to have at least some semblance of reverence. Like, I'm basically going to be extremely critical in my video. You know what I mean? It's like taking your little brother in public. A little bit. Even Ilhan Omar. Okay. I'm gonna add that in the description and the keyword, just so we have good, like, there we go. I hope they sang if the devil doesn't like it, he can sit on attack. Oh my gosh. That's a great throwback. All right, let me give you guys a link. We, unfortunately, I don't like doing this. We have no good options when this happens. Like, when YouTube decides to not back us and when the topic doesn't get traction, we have like 3 options. We either just sit here and drag it out as long as we can, and that's not good. We get irritated and grumble, which I kind of did, and then I did my best to stop. That's not good. And then the third option is we just got to end early and head over to radio. None of these options are ideal, but there's one out of the bunch that, like, makes the most sense. Like, okay, this isn't working. This topic's not hitting. Let's get the frick out of here. Like, so I don't know. We're gonna continue to strategize. You guys that show up every day are the absolute best, and we hate that when this happens, your show also sort of suffers because, like, we don't have vibrant dialogue. We're not having, like, a lively conversation. So that show diminishes. Length diminishes. Like, all those things start happening because it's organic. Like, there's nothing I can do with a live environment. Like, I can't suddenly cast a magic spell to fix it. So, yeah, you know, I don't know. For the time being, we're just going to keep having to kind of play it and just be agile. You know what I mean? We're just going to have to be agile. And I'm going to put a link in chat so we can head over to radio and talk about this viral video of Christians singing on a plane. I'll be reacting as a Christian and talking about why this is absolutely ludicrous behavior. All right? So I'm going to put a link in chat. I'm going to pin it at the top. Click that link and head over there. We probably could squeeze 200 likes on this video. We only need 5 more likes on the video. And do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Reforge TV. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are all at Reforge TV, and we're wanting to look into simulcasting, and TikTok is a potentially very, very big platform with lots of live streaming potential. And I know that sounds silly, but just trust me. Throw me a follow over there, all right? So there is a link in the chat right now. There's almost 200 people here. Head over to radio. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep the good vibes going. I'll see you over there, and it should be a pretty lively discussion because I'm not going to hold back, all right? I'll see you guys over there.